everybody, welcome back to another session of the Hopry. My name is Starr, and tonight I'm going to share another pretty insane stout with you. It's actually, I think, been a little bit of time since I had a stout. I think the last time I did one was the, what was that? Maybe the Bourbon County Stout. And in fact, this one I think is going to be quite similar to that beer, with the exception of there is no barrel aging on this beer. But tonight I'm going to share another beer from the Struise Brewery, and it comes from the Flanders region of Belgium. But it's called their Black Albert, and they classify this one a Royal Stout. Now it does use all Belgian ingredients, as you probably would imagine, and it's named after King Albert II, who is basically their current King of Belgians, and you could kind of look at that as kind of like their head of state, and he is still alive, and if you want to go do some research on him, have at it. But so anyway, had this once before, remember being really excited about it. I know a lot of you guys who have been watching and making comments really got excited about the Dieu du Ciel Péché Mortel, and from recent memory I can say that this is probably the closest one I've had to that in terms of its extreme roastiness and, you know, dense black color. I'm going to go ahead and open it. This one's just got a pretty normal, you know, boring cap on it, so I'll throw it in there anyway. And I mean, I can smell it already, so I know it's going to be strong. And I don't know if I mentioned it or not, but it is 13% ABV. I'm going to go ahead and get some pouring in the glass here, just enough to be able to kind of swirl it and open it up a little bit. I am using one of my Boulevard glasses that I got with one of their Tank 7 tastings. I just really like the way it's shaped. For a really big beer like this, you know, I want to be able to push those aromas up. But again, I always talk about this, but I've had this beer sitting out now for probably 20 to 25 minutes. I actually, once you get over about 10-12%, I really like to start drinking these closer to room temperature. So anyway, let's go ahead, and I did want to point out again that this is another one of those beers that comes distributed or imported by the Shelton brothers. I think they do a really good job of getting those import beers. I don't know if you can see that, by the way. If you can, that's funny. There's just a bubble sitting right on top of that, like a perfectly, well, it just popped. But anyway, back to the beer. Let's go ahead and smell it. I mean, it's intense. It's really, you know, dark, chocolatey, espresso-like. It's not, you know, I wouldn't go so far to say coffee. I mean, I really want to take it to the extreme and let you know that it smells like espresso. With some of these darker malts too, you'll notice a lot of times that they kind of take on a fruity component, kind of back behind all that roastiness. And I get like some blueberry. I did the Dark Horse Trace a while back, and you know, it really kind of is similar to that, but obviously a lot bigger. Yeah, this is a really nice smelling beer, and you can tell when I swirl it, it just really coats that glass. You move it from side to side and it just grips on. You know there's a lot of viscosity in the beer when it just really grips the side of that glass. But my mouth is watering, so I'm going to go ahead and dig in. Woo, huge. This is really a big beer. Nice mouthfeel though, really velvety, really soft. There's a nice, you know, warmth from the alcohol, but it's not offensive. You know, when I drink, like for say example, a fresh Bourbon County Stout, I mean, you can feel the heat. And I mentioned how it like kind of, you know, zaps your eyes from the alcohol. I don't really get that from this. This is actually very, very smooth for as big as it is. Getting that really nice, almost like I said, a blueberry component in there. You know, miles and miles and miles of roasted malt in here. I think if you're somebody who really likes the roasted coffee Imperial stouts, this one's going to be right up your alley. I will tell you, this one's probably a little bit harder to find than most beers you're going to find out there. I always see it sitting next to their Panapot, which, you know, again, I reviewed that one earlier this year as well, or actually at the end of last year. But if you can find the Black Albert, I certainly recommend you go out and find it. I did also want to kind of, you know, let you know that I was looking recently on Rate Beer's top 100 beers on the planet, and this one actually comes in at number 4. So I think that's pretty impressive. I mean, anytime you can get on, well, hell, the top 25 of either that or Beer Advocate's list, I think you've, you know, made a really successful beer. I think for what it is, which is a 13% Imperial Stout, it's one of the best I've had. I wouldn't say that it's quite as good as the Péché Mortel. The Péché Mortel just had a lot more roastiness, but this one's actually a lot more subtle. I think this is just, man, it's glorious. That's the only word I can come up with, and I apologize for using the word glorious for a beer, but this is really nice. You know, I wouldn't say that this tastes like the Panapot, but I can get that sort of underlying yeast flavor that I got from the Panapot as well. So, you know, probably using really similar yeast. I know that they use chocolate malts for, you know, the Royal Stouts and Imperial Stouts and things like that, but really kind of has a Belgian flavor. For those of you who drink a lot of Belgian beers, you'll be able to taste it in here. So it doesn't taste like your American Imperial Stouts. This really kind of has, I guess what you could say, a old world feel to it. But you can see, and I don't know that we ever talked about the color, so let's go ahead and just do that briefly. It's pretty much black. I wouldn't say that it's engine oil, but, and you can kind of tell that there's a really good, nice, soft amount of hazelnut colored head that comes off of this. I mean, it's pretty tight and foamy. I mean, it's really nice. And it actually hangs around for a little while, so that's a good thing as well. I just really like this beer. I'm going to have to, you know, if I had to score this on a scale of 1 to 100, you know, I'm probably going to say this is about a 94, 95 for me. Again, it's not as good as the Péché Mortel, but I really enjoy it. This is something that, you know, if I ever have the money to spend and I see it on the shelves, I'll certainly, you know, spend the money, keep a couple of these. You know, at 13%, you can hang on to these for quite a while. So, well, anyway, thanks a lot for coming back. I appreciate it. You know, my viewership is, you know, starting to increase, and I appreciate that. Tons of new comments on my site every day, people reaching out to me. I love your videos. Keep them coming. You know, can't thank you guys enough. I'm going to try to keep kicking these things out. Hopefully I'll be able to do 100 of these by the end of the year. So anyway, thanks again for coming back. My name is Mark Starr. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.